Here to talk further about that rift is a man who's had his own share of differences with Republican leadership. That is Texas Republican Congressman, former presidential candidate Ron Paul. Dr. Paul, thanks for joining us. And let me start first with this. Why are you the only Republican defending Michael Steele?
Well, I don't know exactly why there'd be just me, but I'm sure there are a lot of others that are very sympathetic. But I think it has to do with who the media goes to. They go to people who want to condemn him and stir up a fight and see if they can have a battle in the Republican Party. I think that's what is going on. But I think the better question is not whether there's 3 or 4 or 5 who have declared themselves leader of the Republican Party. I just wonder how many grassroots Americans believe that an individual who blurted out the truth that he sort of backtracked on should be kicked out of office because of that. The majority of the American people agree with what he said. Now, this whole thing, and I think Ed distorted this a bit about what Chairman Steele said about this being Obama's war. This is sort of like Nixon in 1968 saying this is Nixon's war, in Vietnam War, and he went on and managed that war and 30,000 more Americans
let me ask
killed.
you.
So yes, I think it is Obama's war because he has called this the good war and he fought for more troops over there, and the war is going badly.
All right, let's break this down.
Month in June.
First of all, you have said this previously. You came out defending Michael Steele, so I'm curious, have you spoken with him or had any contact with him?
No, I haven't. I just thought that he did not deserve to be punished through the media in the sense that, get out, we don't want you, we don't need you. I think the party's doing reasonably well.
Well, hang on a sec, because this was...
And we're going to do well in November.
Listen to what John McCain...
Why should we change...
Listen for a moment to what John McCain and Lindsey Graham, 2 very respected leaders in your party, had to say over the weekend. This is not just the media. This is what McCain and Graham had to say, if we can play that sound.
I think those statements are wildly inaccurate, and there's no excuse for them. Chairman Steele sent me an email saying that his remarks were misconstrued. The fact is that I think that Mr. Steele is going to have to assess as to whether he can still lead the Republican Party as chairman of the Republican National Committee and make an appropriate decision.
It was an uninformed, unnecessary, unwise, untimely comment.
So my question here is, does the Republican Party not brook dissent?
Does not look what?
Brook, does not accept dissent. Is there a reluctance to listen to dissenting points of view? Is that what you're frustrated about?
Well, the whole thing is I think his statement was rather accurate. I mean, what he was saying, he was expressing the way millions of Americans feel frustrated that this war has gone on too long. It's cost us too much money, hundreds of billions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of casualties, people coming back here, deaths up to 5,000 people of all the wars that we've been fighting over there. People are tired of the war, and it's going badly. I mean, we just fired our general, which means that things aren't going well over there. They can't even continue the plan to go into Kandahar, and Marja was a total failure, and they're going to pretend they're painting it over, and they're deceiving the American people just as they were deceived in the 1960s. I lived through that. I was in the Air Force then, and I don't think the American people want to be deceived anymore.
With respect, sir, the latest CNN polling... The latest CNN polling shows 66% of Republicans favor the war in Afghanistan. Favor it. Now,
okay, but 66% of the Republicans can't elect a president. You have to appeal to 66% of the Americans. And believe me, the biggest party in this country right now are the independents, and they're sick of this war. And if the Republican Party wants to truly become #1 party, they have to speak to the independents, which they're not doing. And this is what they did in the 2008 election. They lost because of the Iraqi war and the foreign policy that they were managing. And you just can't continue to do this. This country is broke. We're spending $1 trillion a year on our foreign policy.
Sir, are you and Michael Steele speaking for a quiet minority in your party? Do you think there's a growing minority in your party that opposes this war?
well, I think it's a growing number, but I think it's close to the majority, but it's the majority of the American people. Think of all the progressive Democrats that have to put up with Obama. Why is it not good political talk for what Steele said? I mean, here Obama is trying to appeal to his base by saying, oh, we're going to be out in a year. At the same time, he's appealing to the neocons who say we want more war. He says, I'll take all the troops we can because we're going to win this war. But the truth is the politicians and the military people do not believe there's a chance of a military victory. So our troops are being trained to fight wars, and they are not allowed to fight wars. They're tired themselves, and this is not a very good policy that we have. This is a war that is not really a war.
General Petraeus would disagree with you, and we will follow up with that after this break. Please stay with us. Late this afternoon, Texas officials confirmed that tar balls found on Galveston County beaches this weekend are from the BP oil spill, even though the well is 400 miles offshore. Texas Republican Congressman Ron Paul's district includes Galveston. So, Dr. Paul, it's day 77 of the oil spill. Tar balls today reportedly washed up in Galveston County. That's your district. In your view, is the Obama administration doing enough to stop the oil spill?
Well, no, not really, and I think they've done a lot to interfere. For instance, a lot of local official property owners and state officials have wanted to do more over in Louisiana and Mississippi, and the federal government, the Fish and Wildlife people and EPA and others, they come in and they prohibit them from doing it. For instance, you know, one thing I would like to do, and it's related to our previous subject, is, you know, if all our states had their guard units back here, maybe they would have the manpower to do more to help clean up the beaches and prevent this oil from coming in. But no, our guard units all around the world fighting wars that we don't need to fight. So I would say let's fight this war here at home with our borders as well as the oil coming on our shores. But, you know, I've lived on the beach down here for 18 years. I don't presently have a house there now, but I did. And every time we went to the beach, we had to scrub our feet because we had tar balls. So even though they say this has come from this oil well, I will wait and see just exactly where this has come from.
Let me turn to another member of your family who's in the news these days. Rand Paul, your son, is running for Senate in Kentucky. He has been criticized by some national figures, including Senator Mitch McConnell, who, while he didn't overtly criticize him, at one point said he's done enough national media and maybe should keep it quiet for a while. Do you feel that your son has been given a bad rap by either the national media or the leaders of your party?
Well, I think it's just generally, yes, he got some bad raps, but I guess I didn't warn him enough and prepare him enough. That's what this political stuff is all about. You can expect it, especially after you win a primary and beat the establishment. You can sort of expect something and then expect it from both, you know, not only your opponents in the party, but in your opponents from the other party as well. So, yes, but he needs to become a senator. He has a great chance of doing it. His polls show him ahead, and he needs to be at home campaigning, which he's so good at. I mean, he campaigned very, very hard in the primary, and he had the Tea Party movement behind him, and his turnouts in the Tea Party were sometimes 2 and 3 and 4 times bigger than any Republican Party turnout.
Let me ask you about that,
because start to realize what's happening.
He vowed to the Tea Party faithful who were supporters of his that he would not hold fundraisers in Washington or take money from folks who voted for the bank bailout, which is so unpopular among them. He was here. He held a fundraiser with some of those very same people. He's been criticized for that. Is your son being unfaithful to his principles?
Well, you're just putting some words out there. Whether you're right or not, somebody else is going to have to determine it. I know I've gone to 2 fundraisers for him in Washington, and both were for the young people, and I think they paid $25 to come. And we had large turnout of young people because that's exactly the groups that are attracted to what I've been talking about. So I was very, very pleased. What he's doing with PAC money, you know, I always say, you know, I don't get any PAC money, you know, but I would take it because it's under the law. I'll take PAC money, but I don't get it because it's not worth the investment. So it's perfectly legal to take PAC money, and what he has done, you'll have to ask him. Don't ask me about it because I do not know the details of the campaign. I did him one big favor. I let him run his own campaign, and I didn't get involved in any details of what he was doing.
All right, Dr. Paul, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and we will do it again on this show, I'm certain, in the future. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.